If you notice, the name tag is not Shaun King today. It's Nostradamus. I just came to gloat, so I'm smoking a victory cigar because y'all called me crazy. Jay Crawford cussed me out without cussing when I said this was a waste of time. And now my idea doesn't look so bad, does it? Think about if Shadur Sanders was trotting out this week for his first start, and then they were going back to Dillon Gabriel. I'm just telling you, not my opinion, but why I said that was the right thing organizationally to do. I listened to about the last hour of your show, and you guys very eloquently stated all of the issues the Browns had. This year was an opportunity to eliminate one of those concerns or make it the number one priority in the offseason. And that's, do we have a franchise quarterback in the building? That's why I said from week one, they should have alternated starts with Dillon and Shadur. One, it alleviates a lot of the pressure to have to be great immediately because you've laid out the plan for the entire season.
The camera fades from the smoky room to the silent, gray skies over Cleveland. The scoreboard still reads 9-23, Steelers over Browns. The dog pound is restless. The locker room feels like a morgue, the season slipping away, and the conversation everyone's been avoiding is finally echoing through the hallways. Is it time to unleash Shadur Sanders? Because when Shaun King calls himself Nostradamus, you know he's not joking. The man's been warning Cleveland since week one, saying the Browns were wasting precious time. And now, after back-to-back losses and an offense that looks like it's running in mud, his prophecy feels real. They should have alternated starts from the beginning, he said. Let Dillon Gabriel and Shadur Sanders both show what they got. King's argument isn't just talk. It's logic. In a season where the Browns' defense is elite but exhausted, the one unanswered question could define their future. Do they already have their franchise quarterback sitting on the bench? See, Dillon Gabriel's been serviceable. But as Shaun King put it, serviceable doesn't beat Baltimore, Kansas City, or Cincinnati when it matters. And after watching Pittsburgh's defense suffocate him for 4 straight quarters, you can't help but agree. The truth? The Browns don't have an energy problem, they've got a quarterback identity crisis. Shaun King broke it down like a coach with a playbook. He said the season should have been about collecting real data, live, game-speed evidence of who's built to lead this franchise. Because you can sign wide receivers, you can patch up defensive tackles, but you can't fake a franchise quarterback. And as the weeks go by, the risk isn't just losing games, it's losing clarity. How do you build for the future when you don't even know who your future is? When King went on air, he wasn't just ranting. He was diagnosing. He said the Browns' biggest organizational flaw isn't the roster, it's the fear of change. Kevin Stefanski's slow burn philosophy made sense when things were steady. But after that 9-23 loss to Pittsburgh, it looks more like paralysis. Myles Garrett said it best without even realizing it. The face of the defense, the most passionate guy in the building, sounded tired, defeated. Shaun King said he'd never seen Myles like that. The man who's usually a walking thunderstorm looked like the lightning had been drained out of him. And when your alpha dog loses that spark, the rest of the pack follows.
The play caller has to adapt to the temperament of the quarterback. And if you look at from the start of last year to now, the only time Stefanski's offense has looked explosive, even though it ultimately resulted in turnovers, was when the quarterback had the temperament of Jameis. I'm going to be aggressive regardless. I'm going to take shots regardless. That's the last time we saw Jerry Jeudy look like a number 1 wide receiver. With Dillon Gabriel in the game, that's not his temperament. Like Dillon Gabriel would fit great in San Francisco, where, you know, they want to dink and dunk. They're going to throw everything on time, get rid of the football. That's his game. Ironically, Shadur doesn't have Jameis's arm talent, but he does have Jameis' mentality. So when he gets his opportunity, it's going to look more explosive because he's going to take more chances, be more risky, and try and create those explosive plays. So not to dodge your Stefanski question, but the temperament of Dillon Gabriel is such that outside of the fact that it was 9-6 at halftime and 9-3 at halftime and 16-6 in the third quarter, the only thing I would question is how Quinshawn only had 12 carries.
That's when it hits you. Maybe the Browns aren't built for safe. Maybe they need bold. Because that's what Shadur Sanders brings. He's not scared of failure. He doesn't hide behind checkdowns. He'll take shots, not recklessly but fearlessly. And that's what Cleveland's been missing. King compared Shadur's mentality to Jameis Winston, not because of arm strength, but because of mindset. A willingness to attack, to make something out of nothing, to turn broken plays into highlights. He said it perfectly. The play caller has to adapt to the temperament of the quarterback. And right now, Kevin Stefanski's system feels like it's choking its own signal caller. Dillon Gabriel's temperament is calm, efficient, mechanical, perfect for a West Coast scheme like San Francisco. But in Cleveland, where the air is cold, the crowd is loud, and chaos reigns every Sunday, you need fire. That's Shadur. So here's the question, Cleveland fans, and I want you to drop this in the comments right now. Backhand index pointing right. If you were Kevin Stefanski, would you start Shadur Sanders next week? Or would you keep riding with Dillon Gabriel and hope serviceable somehow sparks a playoff run? Be honest, because the window's closing. Shaun King didn't stop there. He even called out Andrew Berry, the GM. Said he should have been gone months ago. How does everyone keep their job? King asked, when the organization's energy feels this dead? That's a fair question, and it's one fans in the 216 have been asking for years. You can't keep blaming the line. You can't keep saying we're still developing. You can't keep telling fans to be patient while the offense keeps producing 9-point games. King wasn't making excuses for anyone. He said it straight. Every QB in the league is under pressure. Nobody's back there like Dan Marino anymore. And he's right. The days of clean pockets are gone. Defenses move like superheroes now, 260-pound linemen running 4.5 40s. You can't hide behind the O-line argument anymore. It's about adapting. So if every quarterback faces pressure, then the real question becomes, who can handle it? Is it Dillon Gabriel, who's been sacked, rattled, and tentative? Or is it Shadur Sanders, who's been trained under fire since Colorado, who grew up watching his father handle the spotlight and never blink? Every franchise reaches a breaking point, a moment where waiting becomes wasting. And right now, the Cleveland Browns are standing at that edge. Let's not forget, Mike Tomlin even got dragged into this. King said Tomlin was furious about Cleveland handing Joe Flacco to the Bengals, a division lifeline, he called it. Tomlin saw it as betrayal. Why give your rival a life vest when you could have let them drown? That's the AFC North. No mercy, no freebies. And yet somehow, the Browns keep finding ways to help their opponents instead of helping themselves. You think Baltimore or Pittsburgh would hesitate to play their young QB if they thought it could change the game? Not a chance. But Cleveland? They're stuck in neutral. And that's why fans are starting to turn. The chants are getting louder. The message is getting clearer. Play Shadur. Think about this. If the Browns keep losing with Gabriel, 9 points, 13 points, lifeless drives, what's left to protect? Because at some point, you stop developing and start declining. And right now, Shaun King's words are echoing across every Cleveland talk show, every Twitter space, every dog pound bar. You can't find your franchise quarterback in free agency. You find him by playing him. So let's talk about it. Because when Shaun King said Kevin Stefanski's play calling doesn't match his quarterback's temperament, that wasn't just criticism. That was a diagnosis. Stefanski's system is built around control, rhythm throws, safe progressions, short passes that rely on timing. That's the kind of system that makes you look smart on paper and stale on Sundays. And as King pointed out, it works if you've got a guy like Brock Purdy in San Francisco, someone who lives and breathes efficiency. But in Cleveland, that playbook turns into a cage. Dillon Gabriel isn't wired to attack vertically. He's a rhythm passer. He wants clean pockets, predictable reads, easy completions. But as King said, that's not the NFL anymore. The modern league is chaos. It's trench warfare. And sometimes, you need a quarterback who can throw a grenade when the play breaks down. That's where Shadur Sanders comes in. When the pocket collapses, some quarterbacks panic, others create. Shadur Sanders was built for the chaos Cleveland keeps drowning in. Shaun King went even deeper into it. He He said that last time the Browns' offense looked alive, truly alive, was when the quarterback had that Jameis Winston-type temperament. You remember those flashes, the deep ball to Jerry Jeudy, the energy on the sideline, the feeling that something dangerous could happen on any snap. It wasn't perfect, but it was electric. And that's what King was saying. Cleveland doesn't need perfect right now. They need life. Shedeur doesn't have Jameis' arm, King admitted, but he's got the same mentality, that I'm going to make a play, confidence. And you could feel it, the energy shift. The whole conversation changed from, can he handle it, to, what are we waiting for? Because let's be honest, what's the worst that happens? You start Shedeur and he struggles a bit? That's fine. You learn. You grow. You get tape. You build a foundation. But if you keep sitting him while the offense keeps scoring 9 points, that's not learning, that's losing. King even called out the coaching staff's decisions mid-game. Against Pittsburgh, Quinshaw had only 12 carries, despite the game never being out of reach. But because Stefanski tried to replace the run game with short passes, 52 attempts from Gabriel, most of them dump-offs and flats. King said it perfectly. That's a mistake. You don't substitute a ground game with a check-down festival. That's right. Quinshaw's a home run hitter, a big back who turns nothing into something. You feed him, you open up the play action, and that's when Shedeur's skill set becomes lethal. Because Shedeur's best plays come off script, off balance, off the cuff. He's not a system robot. He's a creator. So let's pause right here and ask the fans, because I know Browns Nation is watching this one close. Backhand index pointing right. If Shadur Sanders started next week, what do you think would happen? Would the offense finally open up? Or would Stefanski's system still hold him back? Drop your thoughts below, because this is the conversation shaping Cleveland's season right now. Shaun King didn't just talk football, he talked culture. He said this team has lost its emotional spark. Even Myles Garrett, the Iron Man, sounded beat down. That's not just about losing games. That's about losing belief. When your star defensive player looks like he's carrying the weight of the franchise, something's broken. And that's why King said what so many people are thinking. The Browns front office is out of touch. Andrew Berry's decisions, the Flacco trade, the hesitation on quarterback development, they're adding up. And King didn't sugarcoat it. Andrew Berry should have been fired already. You could feel the truth sting in that statement. Because when you look at the roster, top to bottom, it's not talent that's holding Cleveland back. It's leadership. Leadership that's too afraid to gamble, too afraid to hand the keys to the kid who might just save them. And then King went philosophical. He said every quarterback in the league is under duress 40% of the time. You can't escape it. The front fours in today's NFL are built different. Tarzan characters, he called them. Giants who move like sprinters. He's right, you can't hide behind the O-line anymore. That excuse is gone. You either adapt or you fade. And that's what makes Shadur Sanders so intriguing, that he's not just mobile, he's composed. His pocket awareness, his calm under pressure, it's almost inherited. He learned it from Deion. From years of being the target, the storyline, the lightning rod. Pressure doesn't break him, it sharpens him. So let me ask you again, Cleveland, what's the real risk here? You're already losing. The energy's flat. The fans are restless. Wouldn't you rather go down swinging with the kid who might change your future than coast with the one who keeps you in neutral? Because the way things are going, serviceable isn't going to save anyone's job. King also broke down something a lot of analysts overlook: the relationship between quarterback temperament and play caller rhythm. He said the last time Stefanski's offense looked creative was when the quarterback ignored the safe route and forced him to adapt. When a player has that "I'll make it work" mentality, it pushes the coach out of his comfort zone. That's what Shedeur would do. And here's the irony: Shedeur might actually save Stefanski's job. Because right now, fans are ready to move on from both quarterback and coach. But if Stefanski lets the rookie play, lets him bring that spark, it could rewrite both their stories. That's the gamble. That's the moment of truth. Meanwhile, King switched gears toward the end, talking about Jackson Dart and how some young QBs just get it. He said Dart had that same fearless mindset, confident, competitive, not afraid to fail. That's the common thread between every successful young quarterback in this league. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They create under chaos. And that's exactly the mold Shedeur fits. He's not afraid to fail, King said about Dart, but you could tell he was really talking about Shedeur too. Because if we're being honest, both those guys are wired the same way, confident, creative, and tough as nails. The Browns don't need another game manager. They need a game changer. And if Shadur Sanders isn't that guy, it's time to find out on the field. Look, Shaun King wasn't sugarcoating anything. He was blunt, honest, and unapologetic. The Browns have a decision to make, and time is running out. He said it best. You can't get through this entire season without enough live data on your quarterbacks. That would be the biggest mistake this organization's made. And given Cleveland's history, that's saying a lot. Because this fan base has waited too long, cheered too loud, and suffered too much to keep watching safe football. They deserve excitement. They deserve direction. And whether Shadur Sanders ends up being a star or not, there's only one way to find out. You let the kid play. So here's how we'll close this one out tonight. The Browns' season is teetering. The locker room is quiet. The offense is flat. But there's a spark waiting on that sideline. A kid with confidence, pedigree, and a cannon. You can't learn leadership from the bench. You can't build belief by sitting potential, and you definitely can't win games by playing scared. It's time to find out what's real. Because one day soon, when Shadur Sanders finally takes that field, whether it's next week or next season, every fan in Cleveland will remember this stretch. The silence before the storm. The calm before the kid took the reins. And when he does, they'll say what Shaun King said from the start, "I told you so." If you love this kind of honest, no-hype football talk, hit that like button, drop your thoughts below, and subscribe to Gridiron Insights for more real NFL breakdowns, drama, and controversy. Because we're not here to play favorites, we're here to tell the truth, one snap at a time. This has been Gridiron Insights. See you next time.